Good morning, grinders. Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blender at Blender HD, if you want to follow me there on Twitter. And this is the show where we review yesterday's slate, go over some sharp lineups, see what happened last night, talk a little bit about today's slate, maybe not the afternoon slate, but the late slate. I mean, I don't know if I'm playing soccer, right? The Euros are on. I already have soccer lineups in before the show. I have to make some swaps out. You know, when a $2,900 center back isn't in for Turkey, and I got to figure out how I'm going to switch my lineups around. So that's what I've been doing. So I'm not going to necessarily play the early MLB slate, but we'll be talking about it. We'll like we normally do, DFS strategy related. If you got any questions in the YouTube chat, feel free, type them in. Hit that thumbs up button. I still don't got apple juice. I still just got water. I still got the Mandarin orange water. I need to get more apple juice. I need to win some contests so I can get more apple juice. And hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. I see you guys in the chat. Shannon Lyrebird, Jerome Lewis, Drewpocalypse, Andrew Garcia, Chandler Cannon, Brandon McNeil, Shannon Lampard, Frederick Duke, The Prince, and Daniel Hutchins, who Nerdy Tenor. Yeah. I think I'm teaching you too well. I think every once in a while, you know, I say 95% of people don't pay attention. Well, the 5% of people that pay attention are doing better than me, right? Won both the main and the night slate last night. I came close on FanDuel. I had so much of the Red Sox. I had like a third of my lineups had Red Sox in it on a 15-game slate. That's a lot. A third of my lineups not paired with the right crap, right? Because I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to get a 5% Red Sox stuff, right? The pitchers didn't matter yesterday because it was all over the place. You play some Corbin, you play some Taiwan Walker or something like that. And it's like, okay, what's the three-man? What's the three-man in here? And it's like, I didn't realize that a four-man Boston and then like Machado, Tatis, and Cronenworth, the Padres wouldn't get there. I thought a three-man Padres would get there. You got Tatis, but he's 1,000,000% owned, right? But you just don't got the other pieces, right? You're just there. I got Boston. I got some Blue Jay Boston. I got Bichette in a lineup, right? I got Bichette. I got Semien. No, but then like Teoscar has 3 points. It's like, well, there goes that, right? So that was last night for me. I mean, I made money. Yeah, I made money, not much, but I mean, in comparison. But so I guess it was a good night. I mean, I was right on the Red Sox. I mean, they were under-owned compared to their projection. They had, according to the bat, they had the third highest ceiling on the slate, and they weren't going to be owned as much on FanDuel at least. Well, probably not on DraftKings either. Obviously, the Padres were number one, and the stack failed. Right, Tatis was the only. I mean, and you didn't even need him. Right? 16 points. You could have found 16 points. I mean, you could have got something. You could have found a home run from someone, right? Somewhere, right? Grissom, nothing, right? Machado wasn't necessary. 7. I mean, let's look at pitching. Right? Pitching yesterday. And see, it's nice to see. Like, this is what I expected. It was a little bit slightly different on FanDuel because you only play one pitcher. But I thought that the ownership on the pitchers would be spread out. That there wouldn't be like, there's not like a clear, like, yeah, you could play the Tigers against Minor. I figured Minor would be the most popular. I didn't think Darvish would be 17%. But I guess you got to play 2 pitchers, right? I mean, yesterday on FanDuel, at least, because that's where I was playing GPPs until they make the main contest not $18, right? I'm going to be playing on FanDuel because if I'm going to have a bad payout structure, I'm going to at least pay less for it. But I played Corbin number 1. Then I played Castillo. Then I played a little bit of Minor and Walker on FanDuel. And some Montes. Right? I mean, I played all the good pitchers. I played some Kwang Young Kim. And unfortunately, I played a little bit of J.A. Happ, who, nope, right? There's always one guy. But Flexen? Who would have thought Flexen would be the highest scorer on the slate? Oh, no, Taiwan Walker, technically. But for his price, Flexen against the Twins, 1% owned, right? It looks like Nerdy Tenor had some Flexen. What was that winning lineup? Yeah, there you go. It's Flexen. That's what I thought. It's Flexen. Flexen and Walker. You get someone getting a 2% on pitcher with 35 points. See, you don't even need. Right? As long as you got the main pieces, you didn't even need. Oh, you must have loved. I think maybe you went to sleep. Daniel, did you go to sleep or something? Because Altuve hit the walk-off grand slam or something at the end. That's what won it for you. Right? But here we go. Boston, 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 Boston. 5-man Boston. And it's not even like yeah, you needed Devers. Sure. You needed Renfro. Bogarts had a home run. But you got the Ty France. You got the Ty France in there. A nice 5-2-1. Altuve, Alvarez, 3 points. But these ownerships at this level, you get some outliers and you're there. I mean, the second place lineup by what? MH. I mean, it's going to be a Boston stack. Boston stack, Ty France, Jose Altuve. But he had Verdugo and Martinez, Brantley. But really, the pitchers. It's really flexing. Flexing did it. Giant squid over here. Had a 5-man Boston. Ryan McMahon, 4% owned. But he had Erod. See, there you go. Erod's 12 points. Didn't get it there. Right? The whistles. Let's see. Woo. What did Woo do? So basically, Colorado. Okay, because Colorado kind of got there. Right? You had Tapia, Daza, McMahon, Crone. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 3, and a Grissom 1 with 2 good pitchers. Close. Megan Joy, the Boston stack, Boston, San Diego, right? And a Simeon 1-off. 5-2-1. Tatis, which you didn't need. You didn't even need Tatis. But there you go. Low on pitcher that went up, but he didn't even need it. I mean, you could have switched flexing with someone and gotten a home run. I mean, people won with 3s in their lineup, 0s. I mean, this could have won with a 0. If Alvarez got a 0, you still would have won. Still would have came in first place. But we see across the board, like, not like it wasn't like an X out Padres type of day. I mean, people went way pitching wise. You could have gone a million different ways. I don't blame anyone for doing anything because 22% is not like high owned. So even if you played minor at the high at 22% owned against Detroit, you can't. You got to fade the chalk. No, I don't. I think Darvish is a little bit suspect at 17%. I would have played on DraftKings. I would have played more of him if he was like 7% owned. But I mean, Whistles did, Broflex did, but not many others. Not really. Taiwan Walker a little bit above. A lot of people see Hap. See RBX had a bunch of Hap. Hap was fake sharp, I guess. Sharper players played him. Save for like Erod and Kwang Young him. Like the differences between all these pitchers weren't all that drastic. So to have like Kim be 7% owned. I mean, Sammy Long was owned. Nerdy Tenor played him. I didn't even consider him. Right? I guess some people had him. But if we take a look at the batting, at the hitters, like no one really went out of their way to like completely X out the Padres or go really. I mean, look at Tatis. I mean, it's like no one's sitting there with like single digit Tatis or single digit Grissom or single digit Machado. Well, I guess Giants would have different third baseman in. Like the way to get different on DraftKings is like not play, cheap Aquino, right? Giant Squid, obviously projected well. He's going to play a bunch of them. Giant Squid plays more projections than anything. But everyone else is kind of like, dude, do you want to have I play him in a stack. Do you want to have a chalky one-off $2,700 Aquino at 19%? Second base was kind of weak, so Albies was owned. I mean, he didn't get there. Caratini, the chalk catcher, didn't get there. I mean, Pham and Grit. I mean, the Padres didn't get there, but it's not like yeah, Pham was a little bit under versus Grissom, I guess, because Grissom was cheaper on DraftKings. On FanDuel, it was 4,000. Then if you're playing 2 cheap pitchers, obviously you could pay up for Acuna, so that's what a bunch of people did. Castellanos, right? I can understand playing the Reds, the Aquino with like here. Like if you're gonna play this, you're gonna play red stacks. Okay, I get it. Vlad was 12% owned. That's a little high for him. I mean, not many people played Blue Jays. Blue Jays were over owned. See Cronenworth. See, the people didn't avoid the Padres. So I just don't think people played the Red Sox enough against Davidson in Atlanta. Hot, wind blowing out. The total was like 10. I don't know. I thought the Red Sox were the highest EV stack of the day. I thought Colorado was number 2. And whoa, how come I didn't win? How come I didn't win first? I didn't even get top 10. I look at my sheet right here, my little cheat sheet here. It's like, I got my top stacks are Boston, Colorado, San Diego, and the Dodgers. How did I not win? How didn't I win? Sometimes it just works out that way, right? Let's go into the YouTube chat, see what's going on. See what's going on in the YouTube chat. Daniel Hutchins he didn't even make it to then, right? You didn't even see Altuve's grand slam. Right? He's too old to stay up for the games. That's how I've been. That's how I've been. Like I can't. I'm asleep by that. I mean, as long as I don't have like a sweat, like I'm done. 1 in the morning, I'm asleep already. The slate isn't even over. It's almost over. Especially when I have to wake up. I'm waking up now at 8 in the morning because the 9 a.m. games for soccer. So like I can't stay up till 1:32 in the morning. Right? So once I saw I had no shot. Once Bryce Harper came in, I had a Red Sox Phillies lineup that was close. That was like, a home run ish to first place in FanDuel. And once Bryce Harper came out of the game, I'm done. I'm not going to win with a 0 there, right? Let's see. Michael Dompia says Cardi had both Hap and Flex in his okay plays. Yeah, they're okay, right? And one did extremely well and one did extremely badly. So, you never know. You never know. Shannon Lambert asks, anyone know which Blake Snell is pitching today? 10 Ks or 4 walks or can't find the zone. Is he even he's not on the late he's on the early slate. Because I was wondering, it's like I don't remember even seeing Blake Snell when I was doing dummy lineups. So I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on for this 2:00 slate whatsoever. Because the lineups aren't going to be. And normally, if we have an early slate, I'll do a live build or something. But like we won't even have the lineups. So I'm what am I going to do? I'd be building it like 1:30. So I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to watch some soccer. It's all soccer now. Andrew Garcia asked, since you went heavy on Boston, how many teams did you use for stacks? I used a ton. I play 150 lineups on FanDuel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, I didn't use the 11, 12, like 13 teams. At various different distributions of them. They're not even. I had St. Louis. I think I had 3 St. Louis lineups. That's it. That's all I had. 3 St. Louis lineups. But as a 4-man stack. But Boston, I had what? 30? I had 20-ish percent out of 150 is 30 lineups. So I had 30 4-man Boston stacks. But then I also had 12 times 1.5, 18 Boston 3-man stacks in combinations with other things. So it takes a third of my lineups had Boston in it. And then obviously one off JD Martinez, one off Bogarts and Devers or something, right? In some other lineups. Just the more and more I was looking at it, at the ownership, that Boston was just severely underowned. So I started upping my rent. So I originally had some Mets. I had 6 Mets lineups. And I'm like, do I need 6? Can I just get rid of 3 Mets lineups and just add them to the Boston lineup? Okay, let's do that. So that's what I kept on doing. I kept on looking okay, I got 12 Braves lineups. Could I just survive with 9 and just add another 3 to the Red Sox? I just thought the Red Sox were the best opportunity. I thought they had the highest ceiling for the lowest ownership. in relation. So I just kept on adding. Still at Padres, still plenty of Padres lineups. Going through the YouTube chat, Mike Campbell says, "Am I the only one that could barely hear Blender? Is there a problem with my audio? Seems like everyone else is having fun. I don't know. Move my mic closer. Can I do this? Put it in the shot." Danny Lewis asks why DK versus FanDuel yesterday. It's only because I play large field GPPs primarily, and the payout structures of both sites suck. Okay, I mean if we take a look at this payout structure here, right? 50,000, 20,000, 10,000, 7,000, 4,000. By the time you get to 10th place, it's 1,000. I mean, like it dramatically drops. On the other day, they had it even worse. It was like 50 and then 15 and then what? I mean, like it just gets stupid. FanDuel is just as bad. FanDuel is like 30,000, 10,000, 5,000. I mean, like it really drops off. But the difference is that the bat flip, this large field, is an $18 contest typically on DraftKings. So when I would play on DraftKings, I wouldn't play 150 lineups on DraftKings. I'd play 50, 60, something like that. About $1,000 worth of entries. Really, my rule of thumb doesn't mean you exactly go by it. Is that I don't want to put in as many entries as 10th place. So if 10th place is $1,000, I don't want to put in more entries than that number. That's just a rule of thumb. There's no mathematical. There's a mathematical concept of like the more lineups you put in, the more likely you're gonna go broke. But like that $1,000. So let's say if it's a $20 entry, I mean that's 50 entries, 60 entries, $18. So would I rather put 60 lineups into the bat flip, or on FanDuel the contest is like $5, right? For $800, I could play 150 lineups. So which one do I want to do? That's really what it comes down to. Do I want to play 60 here, or do I want to play 150 there? I can do both. Just to me, it's hard to manage two sites at once. I mean, I could do both. It just I did a one slate this year, and it's just chaos. Especially with late swap, and you got to swipe. The Angels lineup isn't in. And you got to, it's 13 minutes before lock, and you still haven't got. You're stacking this team, and they don't even have a lineup out yet. Yet you're gonna be playing 20 of their lineups, and you're gonna maybe have to move stuff around. I don't want to have to deal with that on two sites. So that's the only reason. The payout structure suck on both sides. I'd rather play on DraftKings personally. When DraftKings has this bat flip or whatever, even at $12, it's like, okay, I could put in 80 entry. Okay, I could do that. And once the bat flip is down under single digits, then I could 150 that. I don't mind the field size. Obviously, the higher the entry, the lower the field size. Like the field size on DraftKings is smaller than the field size on FanDuel. But I'm playing lineups that are highly leveraged. I don't care. Make it be 40,000 entries. Those are the contests I'm used to playing anyway. Sometimes this bat flip on some contests, on some slates, are even like 9,000. That's it. Like, sure, it's a smaller field. Okay, that's nice, but I'd rather it be twice as large and twice as cheap. Right? You also, the cheaper it is, you get some more and more casual and dumb people in there. Less so with the larger fee. So that's the only reason. There's no like. I prefer DraftKings. I prefer DraftKings MLB. I prefer playing 5-man stacks. I prefer not having to mix and match. Because if you play like 5X or something on DraftKings, I don't have to worry about my distribution of like secondary stacks. Like if I'm playing 4-3-1 on FanDuel, the problem comes in is that I get like teams just end up getting stuck together, and I have to work with lineup HQ to not let that happen. Right? I'm playing a bunch of Boston. I'm playing a bunch of this team, and then they get 12 of my lineups or two teams. Like my 3-man. I have 3-man Yankees, and they're all stuck to Boston, which may be fine. But like, do I want that? No, I want Boston I want Boston with everyone that I can. But on DraftKings, if you're just playing a 5-man stack and 3 one-offs, you don't have to worry. You can set unique players to 3. right? You always have a pitching change, 2 batters or something like that, and you're good. Or part of the stack, and typically you're fine. FanDuel, you have to fight with it a little. Let's see. Right, Daniel says, yeah, it seems like DK will do whatever they can to keep 50K up top, right? So the smaller contests, more ridiculous the payout structure becomes. Exactly. FanDuel is always ridiculous. So I'm not saying that FanDuel is better. FanDuel sucks also. They probably suck more. But at least it's cheaper. That's it. Danny Lewis asks, how does one pitcher versus 2 influence me? Well, it's just that you don't have to go nuts on FanDuel for pitching. Pitching on FanDuel is much easier on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings. You only have to play 1, and because of the quality start points on FanDuel, like you're not playing pitchers that can't pitch 6 innings, right? Like Long, I don't even know if he was available, right? Like, he wouldn't even bother doing that. He didn't even start. He can't get the quality start. He's not going to project to get it either. So like on FanDuel, like to me, those punt type of starting pitchers, like we take a look at yesterday. Let's see, yesterday on DraftKings. Like I don't even have to worry about Chris Flexen on FanDuel. Like, who's playing him? Like you don't play, like it's almost even hard to play pitchers out of that cheap. Like, you're just my pitching pool on FanDuel typically is very small. Yesterday was bigger than normal. But like on today's slate, like we take a look at we look at FanDuel, DraftKings FanDuel over here. So we look at pitcher. These are the bat projections as of 9:27 a.m. Okay, let's just sort by raw fantasy points. So DeGrom, obviously, we did DeGrom, Cole, Kershaw, right? Zach Greinke actually projects decently. Bailey Ober at 4,600. Like, someone like Bailey Ober is not a FanDuel. Like, you don't have to play him on FanDuel. We look over here on FanDuel. Like, why would you sort by fantasy points? Like, Bailey Ober is down over here, 6,200. Like, why? You're probably just playing. Like, my pitching pool may just be like Wheeler and up, and maybe not even Wheeler. Right? I look at the ceilings and I go, like, dude, I may have 80% fan. I mean, I can fit in anyone I want practically with the DeGrom as it is, even at 12-2. So, like, why am I playing Anthony DeSclafani? Like, why am I playing Justice Sheffield? Why Savali? I mean, you could. You're only going to play one pitcher. Could DeGrom or Cole have, like, 45 point, plus the win, play, 60-point games? Like, you're not going to be able to make that up. Then what's the point? And the FanDuel batter pricing is soft enough as it is that it's, what are you saving? Or what are you getting out of it? See, on DraftKings, playing DeGrom and Cole, like, we put these two together and run it, right? We're going to need a lot of punts. You still play Acuna, Rosario, Seager, Moore, Vogt, right? You could still get, even on DraftKings, you could still make a decent lineup. But let's say you don't want to play with, like, Stewart and Ramirez and Moore and these guys and just go DeGrom. And here you play Bailey Ober. Then you run it. And it's like, okay, now you have Jordan Alvarez in there. You have Josh Donaldson. You have Freeman. I mean, you're good, right? There's a difference in playing a lower priced pitcher and taking a shot. But you wouldn't play him on FanDuel. And then we go over to FanDuel over here. Like, if I play DeGrom, I mean, look at my lineup. I'm playing for the most expensive pitcher. Yet I got some Diamondbacks: Riley, Swanson, Ramirez, Yastrzemski, Acuna, Belt. Right? This isn't a bad lineup. And then what? If I pay down, let's say I pay for Greinke at 8,400, which is almost $4,000 cheaper. I basically, the only difference is I get Freeman and Cruz, I guess, and Alvarez, which is an upgrade. But let's say you go all the way down. Let's say you do play Bailey Ober for whatever reason on FanDuel with one pitcher. We run this, and it's like, okay, now you've all-star luck. Judge, Cruz, Acuna, Yastrzemski, Bregman. I mean, you could pay up in every spot. Sure, that's fine. But I mean, you're stacking. So most likely, I mean, you got Atlanta here. You got a 4-man Atlanta stack. But how are you going to fit the other? You're going to do 4-3-1 and then still end up with like 1,000 left on the table. Like, what's the difference? You're stacking. Most likely, you're going to be playing cheaper. I mean, look at the ownership of this. This is, yeah, your pitcher's 2% owned, but everyone else is like high owned as hell. Plus, if anyone else plays these types of lineups, they're all going to look the same or look very close if you spend all of your money. There's only so much you can pay up. I mean, you're paying up everywhere. So the need for cheaper pitchers, take a flyer. They're lower projected. You never know. They're 1% owned, type of thing. FanDuel is unnecessary. The winning lineup didn't have Chris Flexen in it on FanDuel yesterday. I think Taijuan Walker was. So because if you pay down for pitching on FanDuel and then any of the higher price guys put up a 0, you're dead. That, to me, that's the only difference. Quality start, obviously. Obviously, also on FanDuel, you don't get dinged for like walks and hits and stuff, right? So guys like Robbie Ray, guys like Patrick Corbin, those type of guys. Like, I don't mind this. I don't mind the strikeout pitchers that walk people on FanDuel. I mean, I don't like it that they walk people because then they give up a home run. Instead of a solo shot, it's a 3-run shot. I mean, I still don't like it. But you're not Greinke, right? Greinke gives up 10 hits, strikes out 5, but only gives up 1 run or something like that. I mean, it's not as you don't get penalized for that on FanDuel as you do on DraftKings. Daniel says that his Sims agree with me. Punt pitchers are less of a thing on FanDuel. Even when they project decently, they're not even a thing. Like decently. Like yesterday, Kim was 6,300 on FanDuel. It was hard to even get him into lineups. I had him in line. I had him in a bunch. I had maybe 8% or something. But a very select lineup. Though all those lineups were like Padres, main core Padres, Braves with Freeman and Acuna. Like, it just like, how many different lineups can I make like that? And I'm leaving, and I don't mind leaving 1,000 on the table. So, like, how many of those lineups can I make? I can make if I have only a difference of one player, I can make a whole ton of them. But do I really want that many lineups? That's Kim, Padres, Braves, and then change one guy. And I want 10 of those? No. I mean, you could. You're not diversifying at all. If it hits, you can win first through 10th place. But if it doesn't, then you're out of luck. But that's the way I think it's going to be on FanDuel today, right? DeGrom is just clearly above everyone else. I mean, clearly, so clearly. People are going to shy away from Cole, but he's still going to be played on FanDuel. But I think on DraftKings today that if you wanted to get different and play something like, I mean, how do you not play him for 11,000? I mean, like, the difference between these prices, at least on FanDuel, it's 12,200 and then 11,000 and then 10,200. I'm not sure about Wheeler. I guess that's the GPP play Wheeler against the Dodgers. Wheeler's been good this year. You do something like Wheeler, Cole Wheeler, because you're not really gaining anything. On FanDuel, you could play going down from DeGrom to even Kershaw, right? Jesus could like Kershaw. 2,000. Does that get you anything? If I plug Kershaw in, do I even get? I mean, what do I get? Just in general on FanDuel. Okay, this is going to take a minute. Okay, Belt. They still got the Atlanta guys. Who the hell's pitching for Boston? Atlanta's popping. Garrett Richards. Okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Probably the weather also. Let's take a look. What's the weather? Yeah. 83 degrees, wind blowing out. Okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. Take a look at the stack projections over here. This is the type of stuff I look at. This is what I do in the morning. That's the whole point of the show. This is exactly what I do. Okay, so today, obviously they're not. Obviously the Padres are not on the slate, on the late slate. So Braves, yeah, Braves are the highest. Braves Then Astros against Lyles. That makes sense. Red Sox against Ian Anderson. People may not attack him. Maybe play the Red Sox. The Yankees against Stripling. And the bat typically is low on the Yankees. So when the Yankees are coming up pretty high, that always stands out to me. So I take a look at that, and I take a look at what you can make. How does San Francisco rate out? So I guess just point per dollar wise, I guess. Maybe not. I guess for the late slate, yeah, because a lot of this stuff is for the early, right? The Royals, the Tigers, the Padres. So in comparison, yeah, I guess the Giants rate out on FanDuel, point per dollar wise, against Merrill Kelly. Okay, let's go to FanDuel. What does this look like? These are the things I ask myself. Okay, what's the reason for this? What's going on here? Giants. It's not like that they're very cheap. I mean, Yastrzemski, I mean, I guess against a righty, 68 degrees. They have a 4 total. But look, we're projecting ownership of what, 33% for Yastrzemski, 26 for Brevelt. That may go down. They may be the over-owned team, right? Because I look at that, I look at the Giants' ownership, then I take a look at just whatever the points. The Giants are down here, right? I mean, it's not that much of a difference. You know, like in comparison to like the Mets. Like the Mets are going to be much lower on, right? Like they're right next to each other, right? Even ceiling wise, everything. Then you take a look at the Mets. I'm not saying I like the Mets, but like the ownership is much lower. As long current projected ownership right now, I don't think the Giants on FanDuel are going to be that highly owned. I mean, they'll be on. They may be popular, sure, yes. To this extent, where Belt and Yastrzemski are 26, 33% owned, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I question that a bit. But this is what you should be doing. Looking at the difference, right? Boston against Ian Anderson. The bat has a pretty high ceiling, and 1%, 1%, 1%, 2%. Like if I could get this ownership on the Red Sox today, I don't give him to me. Right? In comparison. Right, Devers is 34. I mean, lefties, right? You play Devers, 3,200. What's wrong with that? Renfro's still cheap enough, 2,500. Always play Dalbeck. You could play these guys. What Ian Anderson, so? So the Braves are a little too cheap, right? Alvin, no, maybe not. It's FanDuel. I'm looking for 3,100. Oh, I thought it was DraftKings. Michael Dompier. Bat seems to be lower generally on which teams? In general, just in general, overall, uh, from a from a prior, like as far as like talent is concerned, we just go through all these teams. Like typically, the bat in general views the White Sox as overvalued, their Yankees is overvalued, and the A's is overvalued. Right? It rates them. The White Sox are a worse team than people think, at least for DFS. Not a horrible team, but just a worse team. Like say for Oakland. Like so when I see like Oakland and Chicago and the White Sox and the Yankees, if they project well, say for the Astros, also yeah, the Astros, the bat typically is lower than other systems. On when the Astros are kind of chalky a lot of times, it's like oh everyone likes the Astros. Like doesn't mean that the Astros are at the bottom and they're doing that. You know they're horrible. Typically not as high. Typically not as high. Teams that the bat is typically over on, meaning that the bat values more than other systems, are teams like the Brewers, the Nationals, maybe the Rays, maybe at times. I guess those would be those types of teams. You know, when the Nationals are in a good spot or something like that, they'll be at the top. They'll be at the top of the list somewhere, right? The Rays will never be at the top or anything like that, but typically point per dollar wise, a lot of slates, if they're playing outside of Tampa Bay against a pretty crappy pitcher, like they'll be up there point per dollar wise. And the same for the Brewers. It all depends on their pricing, obviously. Like we had earlier this year, the Brewers, I mean, even like Yelich was like 4,900 and Avasel was like 2,800 and Kane, when he was healthy, he was like under 3K. It's like they constantly projected well. Okay. If you got any questions in the YouTube chat, feel free to type them in. Maybe a short show today. Maybe a short show. If you don't have questions, I don't got answers, right? What else can I talk about? I got a soccer game coming up. Did anyone get scratched? No one really gets scratched in this. Just got to check. Just got to check to make sure. Did anyone get scratched? Do we still have Daniel James in the lineup? Yes. Do we still? Okay. Okay, we got everyone in. Still got Shahaloglu. Right, we got Turkey today. Feel free to understand. Feel free to try to pronounce any of their names. Right, I think Keenan Karaman, like he may be the only one that you could pronounce. Everything else is like Yokoglu and Tufan and Unda and Yilmaz. Who are these people? If you follow soccer, you'd know about 80% of them. Even the Macedonian guys I know, right? They're on teams. I mean, they're on major teams somewhere around. Let's see. Matt Noah says, "Hey, what's up, Jordan? Seeing your soccer cash line, doing good so far." Yeah, I played the cheap $2,500 central defender for Russia, right? And played the Russian goalkeeper, right? I pretty much played a Russian stack, right? Golovin, Zuba, Kuzayev, Diviev, and Safanov. I'm surprised not many people played Safanov in cash. Safanov is 5,300. Donnarumma was 5,600, and Russia ended up being a bigger favorite than Italy is later today. And since I was already playing the central defender, I'm like, okay, I'll just correlate it. Because a lot of times in these smaller slates, in soccer, 2 or 3 game soccer slates, like my cash lineup is what the lineup I put into like the 555, like the small the small field GPP. So since I'm going to do that, typically I'm not going to play the forward against the goalkeeper. I'm not going to play any negative correlations in the lineup. That's the only difference. That's why you don't see me play underdog keepers that much on 2 or 3 game slates when I'm playing a small field GPP. It's similar lineup. I'll just play to my double ups and head to heads as well. Okay. DFS degenerate. Can you go over use team max exposure by stack type? Okay, this is easy. This setting, use team max exposure by stack type. What if you put in? Okay, let's say you want 5x. Let's say you want this. Just make it easy. You want 50%. Let's just say. Okay, this is an example. Okay, you want 50% 5-man, 50%, like just to even make it easier, 50% 4-man and one-offs. Who cares? So we don't even have to deal with secondary stacks. So if you put in, let's say, everyone at 6, right? Let's just give an example. If you don't click this this max exposure box over by stack type, lineup HQ is going to build you 6% or whatever, a max of 6% or whatever the number is, using either of these 2 construction types. Okay? So you're going to get 6% of the Yankees, either as a 5-man or a 4-man. It may be all 5-man. All your Cubs may be all 4-man because those are the better projected lineups, I guess. If I click on this box, use team max exposure by stack type, it'll try to make 50% of whatever it is. So if you have 6%, let's say you have 6 Yankees lineups that you want to make, it's going to try to give you 3 5-mans and 3 4-mans, right? Of all of these. If you set Toronto at 10, it's going to try to give you 5% because you have 50 and 50. So, like, if you ran this and let's say let's say San Francisco had like the best projection, you may get them. If you want 20 San Francisco lineups, you may end up without this box on getting all 20 of them as 5-man stacks and none as 4-man. But if you click on the box, it's going to try to make it 50-50. So, like, if you have like, let's say you click on everything, let's say whatever. Let's say you do, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. So what it's going to do is like, it's going to try to give you 20% of this type of lineup with whatever stacks do you have with this box on. If you check it off, it means it's going to give you 20% of these stacks, but I mean, just whatever team fits into those configurations, it fits. So all your Boston lineups could be in the 4-4s. If you have 10 Boston lineups, you may have 8 4-4s and 2 5-2s and none of the other ones. If you click on the box, it's going to try to give you whatever, that percentage even in that. Okay? Doing stuff like this, so granular, is typically not necessary. Okay? Unless you have some compelling reason to do so. That you need it this granular. Because it's going to make it too hard. The lineup HQ is going to be constrained a lot. And you're going to fight with it a lot. And you're going to be like, why am I getting too much of this guy? And you're going to build it again, and you're going to still get them. And it's going to be some type of salary constraint, some type of thing. You're really constraining it unless you have a reason to. Like, I can understand doing 5X, because 5X could be a 5-3. It could be a 5-2. There's a reason to make 5 3s, make 5 3s. If there's a reason to make 4 3s, make 4 3s. If there's a reason to make 4 4s, make 4 4s. You could always build these. For instance, you could always build 100%, build 20 lineups, and pick out the ones that you want, save them, and then build the rest under just one. Okay, I want 20 lineups that are 5-3, and then the rest of my build is going to be 80 lineups of 5X. Okay, and do 2 separate builds and combine them together. That may be easier than trying to do 10% of this and 1% of it's just not, it's not going to work out the way you want it. You could try. To me, it's just not worth it. You're going to spend like 4 times as much time to not even get the lineups that you want. Just too constraining. But that's what that does. That's what this does. Go through the YouTube chat. Angelo Strawface. Strawface? Strawface? Do you have a straw face? I heard you say that sports with more events have less variance. Right, like basketball, via sports like MMA, which have higher variance. Where does sport like golf land? Golf has high variance. Golf is very high variance. Because, it's all about missed cuts, right? Can you project missed cuts? Because once you miss a cut, I mean, that, to me, like, you're not going to score enough points. You have 30 points there. You're done. You need a 6 out of 6 pretty much. I mean, I've seen some large fields won by 5 out of 6s. If you get like some 1% owned guy that wins it and the whole, type of lineup where it's even with 50 points out of the other guy that missed the cut or something. So yeah, PGA is just high variance because, predicting missed cuts is just no one has, like, even the top golfers are like 82% chance to make the cut. And that's like at the top range. But most of the time, you're going to be rostering 2 or 3 golfers that are like 55, 58%. So that's the hard part. That's the variance in golf. Michael Dompier on DK Largefield. Any thoughts on how you approach starting pitcher day? You set a rule to only take one of DeGrom, Cole, or Wheeler, or too early to tell until owned? Well, Wheeler's not going to be that owned on DraftKings. I don't care about taking one of them. I mean, you could play DeGrom, Wheeler. But if the problem with the builds that are like with 2 of those 10K plus pitchers is that it may lead you to very similar lineups. Like, I think you can play those constructions if you're not, whatever the cheap chalk is going to be, that's who I would avoid with it. So you could still play those lineups. So if you want to play a DeGrom Cole lineup or DeGrom, any of those, Kershaw, whoever, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to go, well, instead of playing DeGrom Cole, I'm going to play DeGrom Wheeler. It's like, but your bats are all going to look the same. I mean, there's really no price difference. You didn't upgrade anywhere. So as long as you keep your bats different, you can make that construction. So if there's going to be some cheap chalk guy, let's take a look. Is there going to be some cheap chalk guy? We can look. Let's see. We don't have any ownership here for DraftKings, or I should refresh. Okay, here's some bat ownership. Whatever. Dylan Moore, is he going to be popular? I don't know. Maybe 2,600. Eddie Rosario, well, lefty. That's not going to be popular. Maybe it's Dylan Moore. If it happens to be Dylan Moore, then that's the guy, right? That's the guy that makes the lineup work. So if you're able to just not play him, maybe even make a group. Maybe even do that. Make a group and just say, DeGrom, Cole, Dylan Moore. Maximum 2. That's what you do. Maybe. If you want to do that. If you want to build those constructions. I think on DraftKings, the construction is going to be pay down for one of the pitch. I think the cheaper pitchers are not going to be as owned. If you take a look at the difference here, like playing a Greinke, playing an Ian Anderson, playing Bailey Ober, something like that. That's going to be different. Is it correct? I mean, you can build lineups like that, and you can build lineups with DeGrom and Cole. One is not better than the other. It's just, okay, here's a way to get different. Just in your DeGrom Cole lineups, you got to find a way to not play Dylan Moore and chalky cheap stack. That people are, so I'm going to plug in, whatever the chalk is going to be. Where's the ownership? The Braves, right? I'm going to play Ozzie Albies, Dylan Moore. I'm going to play all these guys, right? And then play DeGrom and Cole. You're playing a cash lineup. Just find a way to be different. Jago says, stack against the highest owned pitchers on the early slate. You could. I don't even know. I didn't even look at the 2 o'clock slate. I'm playing soccer today. I'll play the baseball slate at 7. Michael Dompia says, Arizona is probably the cheap stack. Okay. So maybe avoid doing that type of lineup. Where you play DeGrom, Cole, Arizona 5-man. And Dylan Moore 1-off. I mean, whatever it's going to be. That's the only difference. I mean, and then you could find a lineup that pays up, right? A Brave stack or something that doesn't have Cole in it, and then it projects to about the same. Which lineup is better? About the same, right? What's gonna take it down today? It could be either of them. Who knows? Your goal is to just build plus EV lineups. That's what we talk about. That's what we talk about. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out the door. Right? You learn from this show. If you're listening on the podcast, I hate that the people that listen to the podcast feed, like they don't even get to see what I'm even looking at. Right? We talk about settings. Right? I do a live build. Who listens to that for 25 minutes? I'll click on this and do that, and that's all you're hearing. But if you want to listen later, right? And if you don't make it on YouTube, I mean, obviously you could watch it later on YouTube. You could always subscribe to the podcast. DFS pregame show. Search for it and wherever you get your podcast, iTunes, rate and review. Do your stuff there. Grinders Live is later today. We got what day? Wednesday? We got the OGs, I believe. On Grinders Live. I think that's what they do on Wednesdays, right? I don't know. I don't look at that. I don't look at the schedule unless I'm on it, right? This is where I normally am. So tune into Grinders Live. Crunch time for premium members. Go grab yourself a RotoGrinders combo, premium package. We got soccer projections. We got soccer stuff. If you want to play soccer, come join me. I'm in the soccer chat in the Discord, which you'll get with RotoGrinders Premium. Click on the link in the description to get $10 off your first month. And tomorrow we'll talk about what happens on the Thursday late, whatever. I don't know what's going to go on at 2 o'clock. I have no idea. Is Blake Snell going to pitch well? Is he not going to pitch well? I have no idea. Not playing him, not playing the slate. Doesn't even matter. So I will see you tomorrow, as I always do, Mondays through Fridays at 11 o'clock Eastern for the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.